This episode of Let's Talk Natural Medicine is brought to you by BioGlan MedLab. Is backache, mild joint stiffness, muscle soreness, and inflammation impacting how you move and feel each day? BioGlan MedLab Clinical Pain Relief is a triple action formula combining clinically researched term extra turmeric to relieve muscle pain and soreness after exercise, Boswellia apris flex to relieve mild joint pain, inflammation and stiffness, and Eucommia bark traditionally used in Chinese medicine to relieve muscle ache and pain. With benefits reported from as little as 5 days. Try BioGlan MedLab Clinical Pain Relief and feel the difference. Learn more at bioglanmedlab.com.au. Always read the label and follow the directions for use.
Hello everyone, welcome Annie Gibbins here, your host, and today on Let's Talk Natural Medicine, the Legend series, I am joined with Melinda Smith. She's a holistic practitioner with more than 30 years of experience, and Melinda began as a remedial massage therapist and has spent her entire career supporting physical, mental and emotional well-being. That's what we all want, isn't it really? She's worked across women's health, aged care, special needs and private practice, and she's still caring for clients who she saw more than 2 decades ago. So that's a great testimony, isn't it? So this conversation I'm really going to enjoy. It's about longevity in the profession. It's about trust. It's about the power of truly holistic care. So welcome to the program, Melinda.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to have this conversation and connect with you and those that are viewing today. So thank you.
So when you look back over 30 years, it's almost hard to say, isn't it, of practice, what does it actually feel like for you?
Oh, it feels like a beautiful journey on reflection. When I look back, it's like the thread of just following, the beginnings of something I had no idea I was ever entering. It was all very new. There wasn't many around that was doing what I was prepared to do as well. So it was really just venturing out into a space and a place that was very unfamiliar, but it was a real calling. And that's how I've always looked at it, is that the calling was through a sense of myself, and my true essence of who I am has always been very empathetic and very sensitive from a child all the way through my adolescence. So I really felt like I wanted to have a deep connection with others in the world channel through a sense of heart connection. And I just couldn't find that prior to starting my studies. So it just was the right time, I think, and the right age for me to step into something that I was actually more ready for than I realized.
Oh, I love that response, because I often, when people say, what does success look like? I go, I know what different areas of success look like, but I love asking people, what does it feel like? Because it feels like exactly what you said. It feels like, this is where I'm meant to be. This is my genius zone. This is my happy place. That is such a huge element of success, what it feels like. So we started in a beautiful way. So for someone listening who's never experienced holistic care, I mentioned holistic care before, how do you describe what you do then in human terms?
I think in human terms, for me, it's actually all about connection, connection into the feelings and the wants and needs, and really deep listening to what your client who walks in the door, as soon as they walk in and they're in your presence, you can feel their essence. You can actually get a sense of who's in front of you, and you can meet where they be so that they can feel comfortable. But then hopefully by the end of the session, they meet you in the vibration that you're there with, that sense of holding a care for them. So I think holistic is listening, really hearing what someone is saying and wanting in their session with you. Some require a little bit more talky talk, and I think that's okay. They want to be heard, that's important for them. And I think, when a client leaves and after their time with you, holistic care, they feel lighter. They feel like someone actually connects and understands their wants and their needs, and they're met in a way where they're heard, their body is feeling more relaxed, tension is released, and they're not holding possibly the emotional burdens that can happen and be held in the physical body. So it's a connection that goes through, you know, many of those different areas, and it will be more aligned with what their needs are too. So if they're more heart connected, well, then they're going to have that, you know, a bit of extra time or want or need to have that, you know, with me. So I think holistic is looking at the whole of the person, not just what you want to do for them, but what their needs are and meeting them as best you can.
Wow, which is such a skill that needs to be developed over those decades, because when someone comes in for a massage, you know, it's so different to just doing a service to actually seeing that person, but being able to ascertain their needs quite quickly and to be able to read that moment, because, you know, it's so easy to get that wrong, and it's so beautiful to get that right. Now, you were studying, working full-time, raising a baby, and massage wasn't always planned for you at that stage. So how did it come into your life? And then what gave you the confidence to go, all right, I'm going to now make it my career?
Yeah, I think I was thrown into it. It was sometimes we get forks in the road and we have to make these choices, and we just have to have courage. And I was, you know, I actually finished my diploma 2 weeks before I gave birth. So I had some time, you know, as a mother, and soon became a single mother very early into birthing. And so I thought, what now? And I thought, I can't believe I just finished my diploma in remedial massage and sports massage only a matter of time, months before. And so I just gave it a go. I thought, what have I got to lose? So I just incrementally moved my way into mobile massage. Back then was my thing. So I was called Mobile Massage for You. So I packed the old massage table in the boot of my car and packed my towels, and I wasn't big on advertising, but people knew what I was doing, and word of mouth got around. And so I started actually very consciously just seeing how I go, and that's where I started. And from there, it became something that, you know, I just loved. And not only, you know, did I feel supported, you know, I was supporting others, but in that process, I felt so supported by the people, and the deep connection of healing started without me even realizing I was healing them, but they're actually really supporting healing me in that process. So, you know, I was only in my late 20s. I was only 27, 28 when I started. So it was all, as I said, it was stepping out in very new environment and just having the courage to not give up and keep going. So, yeah.
Wow, huge time for you, and well done, big and brave and bold to step into that space. And as a single mum at that time, what did self-employment give you that another sort of way of operating wouldn't?
You know, it gave me a lot of flexibility. I worked nights and got care. Grandparents minded my son at that time. So, you know, I'd have, I would work from 5 till 9, care for my son through the day. Eventually, you know, I could leverage my hours to work with a daycare when he got a little bit older. I got to make the choices. Like I was the one, you know, I made the choices aligned with where I wanted to go, what felt right. I wasn't, you know, motivated by money, even though I didn't have a lot. It was always motivated by what felt right, what was aligned. And through that, my business just really flourished, because it just felt right for me, and obviously it felt right for others. So to have that sense of feedback directly to me, not through an organisation, that employees sometimes don't get that feedback of how well they're going. I don't know. I haven't worked for an organisation for a really long time.
You can imagine.
But I think, you know, it was direct feedback, so I could leverage how I am. And, you know, my motto back then was, I'm only ever as good as my last massage. And I remember repeating it, you know, be consciously aware of meeting the needs of that person. And I really went above and beyond at the beginning to really get it right for them, but also getting that alignment for myself, that it was sustainable and I could keep going.
Oh, you're such a heart warrior. I love it. I'm connecting so much virtually. So what did massage teach you about the body? when you're massaging
Oh,
these bodies? What has it taught
yes.
you?
It taught me everything. I have to admit, I had one massage for myself before I did the course, so I wasn't involved in
Wow.
massage at all. I booked myself into a massage at a physiotherapist, and I walked out thinking, I'm never going to massage like that. I just don't think that's. It was very firm and very hard, and that was my first experience of having a massage. So when I went to do the course, I was very aware of how it felt for me. And I think I've always been one that's had the experience, and still do to this day, absolutely love and enjoy and find receiving a massage to me is like having a long meditation. The longer, the better. So the body actually, I learned through my own experience how the body talks. I felt through the body where the tension was. I would stay there. I was very unconventional in many ways. You know, I learned what I learned, and then I applied it individually to whoever was on my table. So I would, you know, if I felt like they had a lot of tension in their feet, I would stay there a little bit longer. If I felt like their jaw was very tense or they needed very slow to get their breath, so I would feel their breath, and I would feel how they would, you know, be releasing with their breath as I was working. And to be completely honest, like at the beginning, I would work with my eyes closed. I actually taught myself to connect to the body by closing my eyes, taking away the visual, and just using the senses that we're gifted with when we're born. And with that, my extrasensory started happening, where I became very aware and very connected to, you know, what you can't just see in the body, as in the energy flow of a body, which is what we're not always taught about back when I was learning, but you actually can feel the energy flow through the body. And when you can do that, and that was just an organic experience for me, the body starts responding and talking. So you can actually talk to the body. If the mind of the person you're working on is just so distressed and they're not in their body, you can actually talk to the spirit of the body and ask, what is it that you need? And with deep respect, that connection is beautiful, and they do feel it.
Oh, wow. I want to come and have a massage with you, Melinda. And that, which leads me to my next question, because most people sort of think, oh, I need a massage when I suddenly, you know, my neck's a bit jiggered, or, you know, I feel a bit achy, or this or that. So why do you believe massage is an underestimated sort of benefit? You know, we wait till we're hurting rather than what you're saying is it's a delight. It should be a part of your natural being almost to have regular massages. So that's a real shift, I'm assuming, for a lot of our listeners.
Oh, I hope it's a huge shift, because, you know, part of our well-being is our body. And I've always said, if the body isn't well, if the body isn't healthy, then no matter what you're trying to do in life, you will not have the fullness of experience, because it's through the body that you feel that. It's through the body you have the sensations, the opportunity to move and to explore and to do the wonderful things you want in life. You don't want to be in pain. You want to leave disease behind. And if the body's at ease, then I truly believe, the body can heal itself. And I've seen that over 30 years. I know that the body and the way that it works heals itself, but we have to have that connection, and we can't leave it too late, because it's already suffering. And when you have that deep connection with yourself and the wellness of who you be becomes your priority, then it becomes the most wonderful relationship you have with yourself, because you can have a sense of what you need, and whether it be a massage or whether it be a bath or whatever it is that the physical body needs. But sometimes people leave it too late and they use it as the last thing, and it's nearly like they cram time for it. But I look at it as part of the wellness practice. It's part of the quadrant that you have to have in your life to live a healthy life. And for those that choose massage, I know that it has helped so many of my clients get through so many obstacles in their life. And it's a wonderful connection back to self. And when you can lay on that table and receive, and you can just let the mind rest, then you're allowing someone else's body, which is incredible as a massage therapist, use your physical body through touch and through care, to connect to another body. And when you receive that, that is such a gift that you will not find anywhere else. There's a lot of other tactile, therapies, and I've received a lot of them, and I've studied lots of different things. But massage to me is just such a gift to your soul from another person that is there just for you. And that to me is very special, very traditional, very ancient. And we never want to lose it, because it's these old, ways of well-being and care are the best ways. And we've forgotten, we've got to go back, and we've got to we don't have to keep reinventing. We don't have to keep making things bigger and better. Just go back to the traditional ways of how we care. And touch is just such a deep healing connection. Yeah.
It sure is. Now, I know a lot of your joy in your career has been working in women's only spaces, right? It's really special to you. Why is it so powerful?
I feel that I feel like women have so many phases of their life, right? And, we go through, all the different phases. And I think through that, a lot of women can go through a lot of grief. And I think they can go through a lot of changes in their body. They have their children, they go through that, and then the children leave, and then they feel a bit lost. And so I've been part of women's lives from, from the top down, from grandparents. I've met their grandchildren, and I've gone from younger clients seeing their children being born. And I just think women have this wonderful element of care. I've always been very nature orientated, and I feel, in the older generation, they miss out on touch. A lot of my clients back then said, you're the only kind of connection and touch I have is when I come here for a massage, because I live on my own. I don't have, family around. I don't get the hugs. And that deep connection with you means so much, Melinda. And a lot of these women at that time, they were just mirrors of me. They were mirrors of my future self. They were mirrors of me trying to hustle as with a baby and trying to get to where I needed to go on time, just sort of wiping the sweat off my brow, because it was hard work carrying everything, So I feel like we're all mirrors of one another. And when we can come together with that sense of connection, it heals. It's a very healing connection.
I totally relate to that as a mum of 5 and now a nana, all those seasons and your body changing. And then just actually what you said there of just the giving out, the constant giving out. And I think women often, without generalizing, just self-sacrifice so much more and don't take that time to feel safe and feel supported and it being about them. It's almost like, even if you had that money, you go, oh, I better spend it on a child's extracurricular or something else. It's kind of like, why do we do that? And it's taken me, now I'm 58, to go, no, I need to ground myself and I need to be well. To then be that person, to be able to be stronger, to be better, if you like, able to support others when I choose to. And I'm assuming you've witnessed so much of that women who go, gosh, that's right, now I actually do feel safe and supported, but I also have some time out, just even without talking, just to be. I think a lot of
100%.
Never stop and just be and relax.
Yes. And even though they'd want to keep talking to me on the table, I'd say, just take a breath. This is really quiet time now. And I'd really decompress them. So that's why I always allow time for them to talk. And I'd say, how's your son going? Your grandchild was sick last week or last month, and there would be that connection of the story. And then they'd feel heard and they'd be able to release what they needed to in confidence and privacy. And then we'd have our massage. So it was, it gave them the balance, I think, that as you're saying, that you give so much out, and then we need to be our yin and receive. And I feel like, it takes time, doesn't it? For us to realize how much we're putting out. And I think massage to me is just, it is just all about receiving. It's just being able to just release, relax. And when you're with someone that you truly trust and knows you, well, then that gives that wonderful opportunity back to women to replenish And when we're replenished, it flows back out, and then we can be yang again and give out, so it's a lovely way of being. When we really know it, you never want to let it go, do you?
Exactly. Now, as well as women, you've worked with elderly people
Yes.
with special needs, which I
Yes.
think is so important. Was that a real turning point for you, or a choice to go and specifically sort of target those people as well?
I feel like that just landed in my lap in a way. I walked past and saw a sign, and I was looking for a permanent after mobiling everywhere. I wanted a place where I could just be and have people that really needed me, and where I felt that connection. So I saw a sign in a women's centre saying remedial massage required, apply within. I walked in and they said, we just put the sign out there. And I said, well, maybe I'm your girl, because I was a girl back then. And so, handed out, my qualifications, and really, yet again, had no idea what I was getting myself into, but just slotted in and felt that I was exactly where I needed to be. And this is where I feel like we do need to have the courage to go where we don't normally go, or where we feel we're aligned, because I grew so much from, helping, women put calipers on their legs, actually helping them get dressed, because, they had, quite severe physical situations happening. A lot of them would have to bring a family member in. A lot of them were just so old, they just didn't know where else to go, where they would be looked after and feel safe. And so because it was under the umbrella of a women's centre, then, all women felt so comfortable, and it was very, very financially directed at low income earner as well. So for me, that was perfect, because I felt, here am I as a single mum, like, not struggling, but, really trying to get herself going. And I can actually give back to those that are still very much, needing that care, that maybe not financially being able to afford it elsewhere. So it gave me a lot of experience. It really opened up my heart, and it highlighted sometimes, where else I wanted to go in my career to add value to what I already do.
Mm. Now, over time, you then started to add many other modalities. How did you know when it was time, and why did you choose those modalities?
I knew when it was time, and I think it's always important as a practitioner to be able to voice, I don't know. And as a practitioner, people look at us, no matter what modality we're doing, to be the expert and know everything. And I think it's very important for us to know where our limitations are, and being able to be open and vulnerable and say, I really don't know, but how can I support you with that? So I was in a position at the Women's Centre where a woman much older than me, she was a good near 30 years older than my age at that time, just giving that, and she got off the table, and she felt so good, and she just looked at me and said, I don't want to be in the world anymore, and I don't know what to do about that. And I said, I am so sorry. And I found it quite like, oh my goodness, how do I keep this person alive, basically, because if she leaves my presence, and back then we weren't trained around that, there really wasn't a lot of counselling available to people in need, not to my awareness, and I was probably in that category not long before that. So, just with connection, and, I discovered, I called her daughter, and didn't say a lot, but just said, I really would love you to come and just pick up your mum for me. And I kept in contact with that client, and she stayed with me until she passed away, probably about 12 months ago now. And we built the most beautiful relationship. So I'm giving that what it deserves, because I became and studied counselling for 4 years, and psychotherapy, holistic psychotherapy, because I never wanted to be in that position again where I felt a little helpless. And even though love, and kindness is all that she probably needed and all that I could give her, I felt like if that ever happens again, I'm going to make sure I've got, I can be more, So every time I was, it's like life gave me these experiences, and it was like, well, what are you going to do about that, Melinda? Are you just going to just continue as you are? Or are you going to step up and discover more about yourself and be more more and be more for those that need. So it's sort of like, growing up, really.
Yeah. Well, you've just evolved into something. You had a moment,
Yeah.
and it encouraged you just to go, yeah, I could just stay in that moment, or if I'm able, I can learn more about it and add it to
Yeah.
my toolkit, if you like.
Yes.
Which then gives you that opportunity to do more. But it also adds sometimes, does it add a complexity when someone comes in, or which tool do you use, or do you
Yes.
feel that, or do you just know, is that like an intuition as a multi-modality
Yeah.
practitioner that you go, oh, I can see what I need here?
Yes.
Or is it because they fill out the forms and you go, oh, okay, I can apply one sort of area? How does that work?
Yeah, it is a really big question, and it's one that took me a while to navigate. And you have to be very specific and listen and know before you go ahead, because there's nothing worse than being in a situation where someone wants something but you're offering something else. So it really is that clear communication and building that rapport in the beginning, and more or less saying, what can I do for you today, and what are you actually booking in for? And for me, I had a very clear path of my massage people. So my massage people just gained a deeper essence and sense of who I am, but they were there for massage, and that didn't change. And what I built was a whole different branch that was specifically for counselling. And so if they wanted to move from the massage path to the counselling, that was fine, but they were very different sessions. So
Yeah.
there was no blend or blurred or, I thought you wanted this, but I gave you that. So I think it's very, very clear, and you have to have very clear communication. And as I added the modalities, yes, some for the body you can blend. But when it comes to, counselling and psychotherapy, and, you do not want to go there if someone's, it's a no.
No, the concept of that person being head down, anything, and trying to unpack emotional
absolutely
trauma is
not.
automatically sending out alarm bells. So I love that.
Red alarm bells. So yeah, I'm very clear on this. They are very different pathways, and you have to really know your clientele, and you make contact with that client even prior and make sure exactly why they're here. And especially when new clients come my way, it's like, what can I do for you? What are you here for? What are we doing? So you have that upfront, very, very at the beginning.
Yeah. Now you've still got clients from year 2000, which is amazing.
Yes.
What is it like to have these long-term clients? What does it mean to you? It must make you feel good that there's.
It's the best. It's incredible, really, when I think about it. It's gone very quickly. So, but, to reflect back on that, I think, it's like going down memory lane. Like I know everything about them, a lot about them anyway. And they know I know their body. And, I've had one client who's been with since 1999, and she's had 4 different versions of cancer in that time. And she knew I was coming on here today, and she was, she says, how I know how massage saved me. And I just said, I'm not sure if we can say that, but, it's been definitely part of your well-being and coming back into the fullness of your body and recovery. And she says, science proves it, Melinda. And I just said, well, that's, I love that. And that's beautiful. And, but yeah, I've had clients that have gone through, very, very severe illnesses, like even, multiple births. Like I've had women that had twins, and then they've come back, and it's just been, it's actually wonderful. And, the most wonderful thing is when you haven't seen one of your older clients and you wonder, are they still here? And you had that beautiful relationship with them, and, you can't just keep bringing your clients if, they're your clients. So we have to look at our boundaries, but you do get that real sense of connection, and you hear this Melinda, like from afar, and next minute we have this embrace in the middle of, somewhere, and it's like, it's just beautiful. So it's lovely to be recognized as, that you've made a difference in their lives, but what they have to remember, they made a big difference in my life too. So it was always a beautiful relationship with me, with all that have stayed, and the loyalty in that. Like, how could we not be so grateful for that? You know, it's given me it's given me a career. It's provided a roof over my head. It's given me a holiday. It's, so I'm so grateful for the long-term clients, and we should all be, really maintaining and making sure that what we're giving is what they need, and not to be complacent and just get familiar with people. It's always like they've just walked in your door for the first time, and that you're looking at their physical body and their movements and their voice, and really getting a sense of who be in front of you right now, no matter how long you've known them.
It's reminding me, it's bringing me all these stories of the massage practice that I go to. Now my daughters come as well, so they're like going, I saw your daughter. So you can see their joy, and it's coming out of that same joy as you're sounding like sharing with. And I also love that, I've gone in, say, just a full body, and then suddenly they'll start massaging, going, oh no, you came for full body, but I think you actually would benefit from just upper body. You've got a knot here or this or that or whatever. And I love that they feel comfortable about when you go to a practitioner regularly, you've got that relationship that you can switch and change, rather than going in for a service, they'll just do it because they don't think they'll see you again. It's like so lovely. What would you like our listeners to understand about holistic care and well-being to finish up our conversation?
I really hope that it's in your future very soon, that you really resonate and find, a connection with someone that can really just hold that space for you and support you in being, supporting your body, and there's holistic is the whole part of you, just so the body and all that consists within the body and outside of the body, your auric field, and you become part of the oneness of everything in the world and the interconnectedness. So if we all have that self-care and care for our body, and we're out there, we're rippling that to others, and the world becomes a better place, when we don't have stress, and when we're not angry, and when we can have that care, whatever it be for you, then find it and make it part of the practice of self-care and looking after yourself, because it's only whilst we've got our warm body that we have life, and we rely on this body to experience everything. So, we've got to look after it. It's not just a given. It's not just going to keep going because you want it to. It keeps going because it has, it receives the care, and I feel it's very, very important to awaken as many people as possible to going back to those traditional ways of caring for yourself. And massage definitely has been here for thousands of years. And I honestly hope that it continues, and that people continue to practice and learn and become their own essence of self through that. Learn the skills, learn all there is to learn, and then let it become you. Let it become who you are, and let the essence of who you be shine with your clients, because that's the connection you want to make. And that's what makes a good business and practice and connection for yourself. It's always a two-way street. So that's what I would say.
Oh, thank you so much for sharing your story with me and all of our listeners today. It's been such a joy to listen to a practitioner who is really in her happy place, and it's a journey. It's a journey of making that business and being bold and brave, as we said at the beginning, and finding that the places which give you the most joy, but where you can serve the most. And for our listeners, if you're someone's listening that you're feeling overwhelmed, or you're feeling disconnected with your body, or you actually just haven't nurtured your body, haven't looked after your body, oh my goodness, it's a really good time to think about going to see a trained accredited practitioner, to even just go and go, I'd like a massage. I don't even know which one would be best for me, but this is how I'm feeling. I think that would be a really great place to start.
Absolutely. Just show up and experience and go from there.
Yeah, fantastic. And for
Yeah.
our listeners, if you haven't already joined Friends of Natural Medicine, definitely click on the QR code if you're watching this, or go to atms.com.au and find Friends. Friends is free to join. You then get an email with educational resources. You get free recipes from one of our celebrity chefs. You get blogs from qualified practitioners. You'll get links to this podcast, also other benefits. You definitely want to jump on that and join Friends. It's a rapidly growing community all across Australia and probably beyond. We really look forward to you joining us there and keeping you updated. And thank you for joining us on this program today.
This episode is sponsored by BioGland MedLab. Backache, mild joint stiffness, muscle soreness, and inflammation impacting how you move and feel each day. Try BioGland MedLab Clinical Pain Relief, a triple action formula with clinically researched term extra turmeric and Apris Flex Boswellia to help relieve mild joint pain and reduce inflammation, with benefits reported from as little as 5 days. Get back to doing the things you love. Learn more at bioglandmedlab.com.au. Always read the label and follow the directions for use.